calling it meaningless existence or midlife crisis or however you want to call it. We are a new beverage. We had some sort of a rescue mission last night. That's why we went down to, or up, however you want to see it, to Microtech to help a friend who also struggles with some sort of do not know what to do because everything doesn't work, or not be able to do anything just because inability. And as you can see, we got a new armor. This was basically a gift of our friend for helping him out rescue his cargo, or his kind of salvage. Yeah, he does shoot and loot. He tried it once more, even with the new system without the local inventory, and he kind of managed it. But at the moment he left, he got shut down and lost 50k of equipment. But he could save with our help the loot he got out of this contract, and this armor is a part of this loot. So we are now in Microtech. We got some stuff, primarily undersuit and medical gown. Some boxes. These boxes are the boxes of the friend. We extracted it, so we have now the inventory in our account because his inventory didn't work. So we could sell the stuff, is that, or we can keep it and give it him back, because he also has some sort of midlife crisis and he doesn't know if he should sell everything besides the base equipment of this RSI, undersuit, a pistol, a helmet, and a medpen. And we're also thinking about, okay, we are collecting the official armor of these dudes on our contracts site, like the Hearst Dynamics, the yellow one. And yeah, we think we'll continue do that. Let's see what happens. But we're doing it here on Microtech. We should have
Careful, doors are now closing.
some reputation on Microtech protection service. We are on 21.5%, and we are in the junior security contractor level, where we can do some contract and get armor. So we will probably take one of our friend's box just to fill it, and yeah, do basically the same thing like he did. Shoot and loot. Just because midlife crisis. These cargo hauling missions or contracts, we have seen it. We would like to do more cargo hauling contracts, but in a logistical, meaningful way. But CIG doesn't allow us to do that because they cannot handle freight elevators. They cannot handle the box count. And yeah, therefore there's no sense in doing cargo hauling just to... I mean, we tried it out in the meaning of testing. In the meaning of testing, we tested it. And we had some contract that worked. That was fine. We got some money. And we could say it was good money in terms of risk that was not involved. But in terms of the effort we put in, the time we spent to do the contracts, it's still a bad paid stuff. And it kind of like makes the impression as if everything is inflationary in terms of everything gets so much more expensive within the verse. Even since the patch 3.24, the ships prices went up, not from all the ships, but from many ships. That is not a big of a deal for us because we are happy now with the Vulture and the Taurus, but
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
yet everything else, I mean, we can do tractor beaming with the small one, that works, and we actually prefer the small one, just because it feels a little bit more intuitive, but it's still not. It's not anymore, put it that way. It's not anymore, it's not intuitive. But the left turn, it just doesn't work. And it doesn't even work with the big tractor beam. No, it's even worse with the big one. It just takes much more time. As you can see, the vlog wrap up about doing the stash mission. No, it's just not practical. Yeah. This is one more reason why we do not do hauling. Not because it's not working. It's just not realistic in sense of simulation. No, it's not. They artificially limit it down, probably to push people to buy the bigger tractor beam because they want to implement the max lift batteries that will come probably pretty soon. So that means you need to buy in additional, next to the 20k, almost 20k max lift, you need to buy batteries.
You are clear to launch.
To able to handle all these stupid boxes which do not handle intuitively. So we will waste a lot of energy on the batteries just because it doesn't work like it should. And yeah, when we talk about simulation, we're talking about, is it realistic? Is there some sort of an effect of realness involved in the digital realm we are in the verse?
Thank you.
And is it represented in a way of reality is perceived, right? And that's not. That's why we say it's not intuitive. And we saw other YouTubers, they had the same issue. They worked it intuitively, but it just didn't work. So they had issues as well. Some did some scientific stuff just to prove, but it's definitely a downsizing. They're making it worse. Yeah, they're really making it bad. So, and some other things. I mean, don't get me wrong. Staates offers still a lot of good experience. And the landscape and the planetary side, we probably just didn't explore it enough so far. But if we consider Star Citizen is a game, then we would say no, it's not. There are way too many missions contracts that do not work. And if it's considered to be a test version, which it is, it's an early access, even then it just doesn't work because we found issues that persisted for 12 years. Yeah, that's what they mean with persistent universe. All the bad stuff stays and the good stuff goes away with the excuse of, yeah, realistic simulation. But no, it has nothing to do with that.
Landing gear deployed.
Yeah, and here we are. Going to Tresla, buying a gun. We could have taken the friend's gun, but we take our own gun. And then having a check on the contracts. With the goal to find one of these nice armors for our collection.
Landing complete.
Yeah, we are microtech, far away from Everest, so we do not know if blockade runner is still active, but we can check. It's still active. We are not sure if we should participate or doing armor hunting. And we will say evening is early, that means we do one armor collection. I hope it, yeah, one armor collection. And afterwards we are gonna go participate the blockade runner stuff. What we haven't checked is money. And we will do that after we bought the weapon or weapons. Because we got a heavy armor, we do not know what we should do, if we should buy the heavy armor and a backpack just to put some loot in it, or should we just buy one weapon and take a second one on location? Probably this will be the case. So question is what kind of contracts we get, but up until now we are still sticking to the P4. And the Karna is quite okay. Do we have Karna available? No, we only have the batteries, but no. So then P4, one magazine, okay. Then we put some ammo in the local inventory. And what we do is med pen from the beginning, because this is always the thing we forget. But we will find some med pens on location, so that wouldn't be that big of a deal. But yeah. In the armor core, armor empty, leg armor empty. So we mount the weapon, med pens. What is going on with that guy? You also have one of these. Yeah, we are able to get the ship here, and up until now we still do not know. Oh no, we forgot the attachments. Up until now we still do not know if we haven't been able to get our ship because of the blockade runner or because of the bug or feature, however you want to call it. But we claim it is a feature, because even in the last patch release we had issues with Everest. And so, yeah. Attachments, what we have is probably, need to see, compensator 2 or 1. The 3 is probably for the bigger guns, so we will 2 and 1, 2. Yep, and what we are missing here are the scopes. Here, the scopes, 2 times. We prefer the 4 time, but yeah, we will take what we'll get. 2 times. Okay. And in the other way around, it is kind of fascinating that a space simulator, spaceship simulator, which offers a lot of great stuff. At the end, ended up being just a usual shooter game experience, just because it's not worth the effort to do what it is probably intended.
Ready to shift your perspective from the ordinary to the extraordinary. Ready to reset your expectations from the
And sometimes it doesn't even work, like we experienced in Hurston. Got contracts without targets at the end, so we couldn't complete the mission. Although we evicted, okay, we didn't evict. They were already gone. So we got that 4 SCU box. We got the tractor being on us. Hope we do not lose it. Not like the last time. Yeah. Beside that, we have nothing here on Tresna. So the thing is, if we do this kind of job contract with the higher reputation, that would probably mean that we get or do not get any empty security protection service personnel in front of us. That means we actually want to have those armor, not the bad guys' armor. So we probably, oh no, what did we do? Probably shouldn't have done it. This hangar is too small. This hangar is too small. To turn around. Okay, it's heavy lagging. Okay, okay. So we are out. Then we'll have a check on contracts. We probably need to do some sort of a 10k mission or below. Or this heavy duty contract. This would be challenging, probably. Yeah, this would be challenging. This is actually something that we kind of would appreciate. But wreck site on Calliope. This would be a chance to find a sunglass. Quickly, safely assist us in the complete removal of illegal occupants who have temporarily gained control of the wreck site. So we went there once, not on Calliope, on another moon. And there had been no illegals. So this would have an impact, a negative impact, probably on reputation, but we will have it in a check. We will not find, we do not expect to find armor from MT Protection Service. That would be probably in bunker missions, defend the site. Because that means there are already some personnel and they asking for support that we may be able to provide. So here we have 100 kilometers difference. We could go here, that would be more than 100 difference. That would be less, but the distances are from our perspectives. So we're gonna try this one, right? We could be wrong, but question is, why do we... This is probably this nonsense stupid CIG thing that you need to use this stupid app in order to fly directly. And no, there's no way to fly directly. So we go there. Then we will have a check. Now we bought the gun, we can do accounting. Just to track the increase. Yeah. And the wallet is getting smaller. No, just a little bit higher. Means that we had done some sort of a mission, probably. Yeah. Staying outside of atmosphere, we think it's an advantage on having a fast ride. But Moon's atmosphere acts a little bit different than planetary atmosphere, so this 100 kilometers is not that big of a deal. The vastness of nothingness. But they did some sort of animation in the clouds, which looks like fast forward stuff, time lapse kind of thing. Looks great so far, but it indicates heavy winds on this moon. So once more, having a check on the contract because crash site. All right. So crash site means we expect protection service from the so-called illegal occupants. But since we are, why do we have proximity warning? We are far away from ground. We probably could turn off. Yeah, we are falling. Did you see that? When we turn off. Or was it just the audio? No, the thing is, we are still moving around some way. up until now. No enemy ship in sight. There we see ground. Is it because light is on? Did it say something about a caterpillar? Yeah, it is a caterpillar. So compared to the last time, we didn't shoot down any other ship. That means everything what is down here, what we see in front of us, is placed here in order for the contract. The last time we had the issue that we shot down ships, they crashed on the crash site as well.
Take off printed.
Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, we see there one guy standing. So we have a good chance that we will be successful in this mission. Successful in terms of actually being able to complete this contract as intended to. All right then. Yep. It's okay. No, no, no. Go up. Is it that? Is that the reason? Okay, then we will keep it up. Because just in terms of the money, we will not lose much money. But we will lose the gear. And the consequence would be spending way too high up. Are we able to jump in? No, we are not. No, we are not. Whoa. Okay, well then. You said, hello, my friend, and I will greet you as a friend. Hello.
I'm gonna go and check this out.
Okay, 12. There's another one. Okay. It was an intense start. We will have a check. Oh, down there. They engaging fast. That's totally fine. That means that we will.
Contact ahead! We've got company! Are you kidding me? How we lose them?
Fuck. Yeah. At that point,
We've got company!
I don't think that we will make it. And they start shooting from above as well. Quite interesting. Okay, get up, get up. Lagging, of course. Hurry, hurry. Contract failed. Oh, okay. Open these doors. It just takes way too much time.
Shields damaged.
Way too much time.
Engines on. Take off. Docking request initiated. Docking unavailable. Landing gear raised.
So you should have left. Yeah, heavy lagging, massively lagging, but it's okay.
Shields damaged.
Come on. Turn around. Come on.
Enemy down.
And so what now?
Landing gear deployed. Landing gear raised. Landing gear deployed.
When is that the front? This the back. It is just way too risky that we at the end probably will not be able to get back into the ship. But it's a weird mission some way. Because we got paid 15, we would have get paid 15k in order to eliminate 12 people, but because of the other ship, we just have limited time. Yeah. And with that weather, we have no chance to find that place once more. So at the end where we can say, okay, we are back in the ship, more or less safe. We didn't lose much, a little bit health issue, but beside that, everything is okay. Yeah. And the ship probably also has. We do not know if that is lagging stuff, that behavior. Because usually we fly with the Taurus. Just takes way too much time. So we got 2 tier 3 injuries. So that one we failed. Yeah, failed has an impact on reputation. Microtech, come on. Still 21.5. Yeah, these are the classical stuff we used to do. Bloodshot Ridge should be. You never know. This is 30k, the double amount of that what we had just now. And we also got these kind of contracts on Hurston where we go to Rappel or Pickersfield or whatever. And they also will pay 30k. But it's... we do not like to say it, but it's overpriced. This one could be 10k. We go there, and on the way, yeah, this is on Microtech. On the way, we will go to Tresler to repair our body. And probably the ship. Not sure if the ship got damaged. That one. So there's Comoray. That one Tresler. Yeah, and then we will need a short break. And we'll be probably right back. But during this waiting time, we want to show you our worst radio. Tomato talk. Not sure if you know that, but there was a talk. Let's see if we can see him. No, we unsubscribed Tomato Talk. Tomato Space Tomato. Space Tornado with Avenger. They did a talk this week. about the master mode, and we just tuning in during the waiting time till we are back. Yeah, so we go on Dresser first. So let's see if we can do fancy maneuver. Probably not. No, we do not need to do fancy maneuver.
Landing gear deployed.
Are they closing doors? So next time when we leave, we fly backwards out of the hangar. Yeah, got some damage, not much. Alright, Avenger 1 together with Tomato, be right back.
Standard, you know, it's just not, it's not playing to your demographic, I think, personally. You know, like I said before, Star Citizen is largely people between 18 and 40 to 45, you know, and it's largely a male audience. And the folks that buy and play this game want something deep and engaging that they can sink their teeth into for many, many, many years to come. And you're just not going to have that with a rudimentary flight model that just doesn't hold people's attention. Look at games like Starfield. You know, nobody plays that game for the flight model.
Dude, that game has an amazing flight model. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, totally, super fun.
I love the loading part.
The loading part. Right?
I'm sorry.
You know, so much of what you do. So, like, think about it this way. Did you ever play Skyrim?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like Skyrim's combat movement and gameplay system? The swords, the shield, the magic.
Not really. I don't
really?
know why I liked it. Like I enjoyed Skyrim.
Okay, you enjoyed Skyrim. So hold on. So
I'm a big picture kind of guy, I guess.
Okay, totally. But think about it deeper here, right? What's one of your favorite games?
Halo.
Okay, why did you love Halo so much? Was it Master Chief?
I think I have a book around here that I wrote that down. A novel.
But I'd like to hear this.
Dude, why did I like Halo so dang?
Think about it deeply.
Honestly, I mean, the gameplay is a big part of it, right? The rock, paper, scissors style of that gameplay, the shooting melee grenade, the way that it worked against different enemies in different categories, but also the freaking story. The story was good. It was solid. You know, it had pulled the heartstrings, had some great set pieces. Oh, the music. My man, Marty. Like, dude, I could just keep going.
Okay, this is good. I'm going to be using more Halo examples because you seem to resonate well with that. So
I like Halo.
I loved Halo too. But Halo's flight model was the Spartan suit and the time to kill and how the weapons handled and how the gameplay was and the grenades and how they bounced and all that stuff. That core pillar of the experience, coupled with the music, the set design, the character development, brought an experience that became world renowned as being one of the greatest games ever made. Now, Star Citizen is in a place where we were getting close to that Halo spot in terms of gameplay. There you go, my man, right?
Yeah.
And instead, we went from almost getting to that Halo spot, like it's got to rough some edges, we got to learn some things, we got to fix some things, to what's a bad FPS shooter that nobody really likes? Actually, this is a better question. If you got really good at Halo, how many kills could you get? You could feel like a real hero, right? You get the force hammer, you get the sword, goofing around. You know what I mean? Get
All
like
I needed
15.
was a DMR, man.
Yeah, okay. And how many kills you get before they finally took you out? Sometimes like 20 kills, something crazy,
Yeah,
right?
it could be solid. Could be good times. Yeah.
Now, what if Bungie came back and said, you know what? At 3 kills, the BR just blows up in your hand and you die because you can't kill more than 3 people. It just doesn't,
Okay, but you just said that didn't you say, I think it was in your video, you said you still can, right?
Right, I can to some degree, but it's mostly in a very gimmicky, non-fun way, right? And this is one of the problems. This is one of the problems I was talking about. Think about it this way. If you design an experience and you claim that it's met that goal and it doesn't meet that goal, and I can empirically prove that all the time, then what you're saying is false, right? And this is a very difficult thing for me to say because I like Yogi. I really do. I consider him a friend. I really like him. But what that post was when he put that out, I personally think was just wrong because they're claiming, and I don't think it's just Yogi, it's the whole team behind this. It's like they claim all these things. It's like a narrative. They're like, oh, Master Moses achieved all these things. And clearly it hasn't. And a lot of people feel betrayed and lied to, and they're frustrated and they're upset, and they don't know where else to go. Like they don't know who else to turn to. They don't know who else to. They've complained. They've given their feedback, and it's largely been met with, people like Jared on the Inside Star Citizen or Star Citizen Live, basically talking down to them and being like, oh, don't be angry and stuff. And it's like you're gaslighting people. You gaslight your own community. And it just doesn't fly with people anymore because a lot of these folks have been around for a long time. Star Citizen's not getting deluges of new people. They're getting people that have left and then come back and kind of open the door and we're like, what's going on here? And then, ooh, no, it's not ready. Let's get out of here. It's not like they're getting tons and tons of new people. So you got to respect your core fan base that supports the project. I don't know.
Can I go back to the Halo metaphor real quick?
Go ahead.
Bungie did the same thing. After Halo 1, they changed the shields. They changed the med packs. They changed the time to kill. They added gadgets in Reach. They added dual wielding in 2. They added, I guess 343 added sprint, but like the same thing happened with that game. They were chasing an experience to try and continue to almost complicate things to balance it out more.
So I like this. I like where you're going with this. Did you think the gameplay got harder or easier from Halo 1 to 2?
Harder.
Okay, so the
I didn't play much multiplayer in Halo 1, so I can't speak towards that as much. But I will say that they gave us more tools in Halo 2 that made it feel more complex.
Well, there was definitely a lot more competition and a lot more competitiveness in Halo 2 than Halo 1.
Yeah.
And it only got more complex and more difficult and more
They saw that
skill
Xbox Live and they were like, let's go.
Okay, right? So what we have here is an example of, first of all, Halo. I'd say the large part of why Halo sold so many copies was a large part due to the fact that it had very strong multiplayer. Would you not agree?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So games like Halo increase in their skill cap. They don't decrease in their skill gap as the subsequent games come out. And now we have Halo Guardians, not Guardians, Halo what was
Infinite
it?
now.
Infinite, yeah. Which I would say is, I guess you could say, the opus grandis of, or is it opus grande? I don't know. I'm trying to sound smart here. It doesn't work for me.
I wouldn't
I'm a
call
pretty
it either
simple
of those
guy.
things for Halo. I mean, it's a good game, but they're meandering a little bit.
Okay. Why do you think? Oh, this is here. Let's break this down real quick. Do you think they're meandering? Like, just real quick. Why do you think they're meandering? Is it in story? Is it in gameplay? Is it multiplayer? What is it?
All the above.
Okay. Well, it seems like this is a much larger topic.
It is a big
For
topic,
another
man.
time.
I could have a whole podcast
to know,
about this.
though.
Yeah. But like, let's just take the gameplay part of it. It's meandering, I think, because it's trying to stay relevant. And I could see Star Citizen having a similar problem in the sense that what we started with in Star Citizen, a lot of people don't want to hear this. People be saying stuff about cargo hauling. People will probably say the same thing about engineering. Star Citizen started out as a very complex and hardcore kind of design of a game. Death of a Spaceman, physicalized stuff, even the flight model, you know, all of those things were very focused. And as the game has grown, it needs more funding. It's bigger, you know, and they've gotten to this point where they are stuck building a game that needs a proper amount of funding to complete the game. And for that to happen, it has to be able to appeal to more people in more ways. And I think that means that the game design has to change to some extent. And for that reason, I can see where the gameplay changes not based on the vision, but based on keeping the vision alive.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm willing to be like fair played because I want the best experience. I really do. I realize that Star Citizen will never be that hyper hardcore space shooter dogfighter game that I've been wanting for, and that's okay. That's okay. But for the game to flounder and not step into its full potential is really what I am not happy with. And I really truly believe that Master Mode's, the way it's implemented is not stepping into the potential of the game. And what's worse is the direction that CIG is taking it and their inability to acknowledge its flaws is the very distressing part of this problem that I think a lot of people are picking up on. And when it comes to guys like me, I voice my concern and I expose it for what it is. And people see that and go like, you know, he's got a point. Like, you're claiming all these big things, multiplayer numbers, that and stuff. And it just, from my point of view, it's not true. It's not true. You know, I mean, you said yourself, the activity you've seen in the game has been at a real low. Now, there's obviously natural highs and lows throughout the year, but I know for me, I've never seen it so low. And if you go to some of these, there's a website that we were looking at recently. I can't remember the name of it. I have to pull it up here, but it's a bunch. It's like it shows the amount of logins that Star Citizen's been having, and it's by thousands and thousands of users who basically put their hand up. So it's like 100,000 or something users or more that have basically self-proclaimed to give their data in terms of when they've logged on and that kind of stuff. And the numbers, you know, they go up when a patch comes out and then they just like steeply drop off. And you can see like some patches that are better than others, the retention's much higher. But this, like the most recent stuff, like you can clearly see the graph when Master Mode starts to hit PTU and the community starts to get their hands on it. You can see that graph start to taper off and down. And now it's hit like an all-time low.
I mean, I'm sure Master Modes has something to do with that, and golly gee, I bet the comments will go ahead and confirm. But I do believe that 323 was put on a pedestal because of CitizenCon, because of the ending of 2023, and because of the beginning of 24. The hype was huge. And then a patch comes out, and really it's filled with a lot of quality of life adjustments, things that change the systems we've already had. And it was realized that, oh, wait, the game's still, this is the same game. Like, maybe I should wait.
Well, it's not just that it's the same game. Like, I think this was this was way worse than 318. I hate to say it, you know, in terms of server stability and all this stuff going on. Like, it was just really brutal. And, you know,
you could log in.
Yeah. we've been taking L's as a community for the last couple years, you know, and
Has it only been that long?
it's there gets a point where the amount of new folks coming in doesn't outweigh the amount of people walking away and getting bitter and frustrated about the whole process. And now that we're kind, you know, Chris comes out and says we're feature complete, like we're ready, you know, it's like I feel like I'm having a flashback from like 2016 when he walked up on stage with Mark Hamill and said, "Next year we're gonna have Squadron 42," and I was like, "Yeah, that's not happening." You know, and it's like, look, I'm not trying to say that Chris is try to pull the wool over people's eyes or there's a scam. Like, I'm not one of those folks, right? Like, it's a game, it's a company, they're trying their best. But I feel like there's enough evidence to show that what they're doing isn't working and they're kind of just spinning their wheels. You know, like for example, if you buy a ship and you want it to be fun and engaging, and you just can't. Like, for example, a constellation against 2 buccaneers that know what they're doing, you could have Avenger 1 in that constellation and you wouldn't stand a chance because mechanically it's just not possible to win that fight. And this is basically the case for almost every multi-crew ship in the game. And this fundamental flaw is based on a design issue, not a tuning issue. And it's been in the game since the very beginning. And so we get these new flight models with these new patches and these new changes, and they don't fix the core issue.
Okay.
And, you know,
so...
and that...
No, go ahead, sorry.
But that bitterizes me, is what I'm saying, right? And people notice that over time. Now, I'll notice it a little faster than the general public because I'm in that space 24/7. But it becomes a problem when the general public starts to be like, hey, wait a minute, you know, and then people get angry and bitter because they're like, wait, this problem's been in since like 2014 when we first started flying around. So
you're drawing attention away from master modes as being the problem and more of the overall way that ships in the game work, specifically multi-crew ships versus dogfighters.
Master modes is just another iteration on a long line of failed attempts to solve a fundamental issue.
And that is?
Geometry.
So
range. Here, I'll draw it out for you.
Wait. I wanna stay on that line of thought. If master modes is a failed iteration on another type of flight to make this game work better, what is the path forward then? What would you say is the proper fix?
I will show you. That's what I'll say. I'm going to pull it up for you right now. Okay.
Props, man.
And because, and this, you know, okay, let's see here. Is this fully like in view?
Just the middle.
Just the middle.
Basically,
like,
where your scroll bar is.
Interestingly, there are people outside of the building as if they expecting me. So we're gonna have a check. They have green markers, that means they are friendly to us. And if the stupid elevator would work. Once more. God damn it. Looks like as if we can leave from behind. Yes. This might work. We are on the planet itself. What's going on? So what are they doing? How do they look? This looks like a civilian force, and this one... Okay. The white. Wait, I'm your friend. Chill. So there are 10 hostiles inside. And what we need, what we actually here for, is one of the white armor. This is just our inability. Yeah.
Check out.
Guess I'll go.
Yeah, the P4 is not a really strong weapon. Eight of 10. Okay. We risk it. Three left. So this is primary armor while we are here. It's not considered to be a heavy armor. Probably medium. Looks like a toy gun, but it's probably not. So we collect these armors primarily for getting paid for the damage we got from the mission before. And we assume it will give us something like 10k in total, if not more. And as long as they stay 3, we will have plenty of time. Because usually these are not the kind of mission that run out of time. Just like that, like we did with the stash. Yeah, and this time we can focus, we do not care about the ammunition. We are just taking stuff of value. And the reason why is because we do not need, we don't use the guns. If we would use the guns, then we probably would take also ammunition in order to use the gun. So then, got everything. Move it, move it, move it. Okay, that doesn't work. %, but we got the white armor. Okay, probably this is the amount of armor we can carry in this one box. We will bring some weapons just to max out. %, so that means even we will have problems with the guns, if we would continue collecting guns. Yeah. So probably we just focus on the mission itself, getting rid of these guys and then leaving. Kind of interesting. Why are they showing two left? Are they above ground? This would be the very first time that the target is above ground. But in the sense of storytelling, it would make kind of sense. So bring this box above ground. Taking this one guy with us, because we like to figure out if we can take this guy with us. But we only have one ship with us, so we do not risk to lose the two boxes plus the armor, so we will probably just drag him out and see if he will stay on the ramp. Probably not. Yeah, they are above ground. Quite interesting. Let's see if they killed the other three. Not the three, the green guys. Because that would mean we got an extra armor without doing something. Fuck. Just such a pain in the ass. And yes, of course, we could use the 4SU box, but we don't. Let's have a check if we find these two bodies somewhere. Yeah, if they wouldn't have these yellow flags, then it would be only their own flashlights. So this is interesting. They are in the box.
Eat this.
Or on the box. I mean, we need to destroy them from the ship. Because it looks like as if they are in the box, not on the box.
Give them hell.
We wouldn't wonder if that would be some sort of a bug glitch. Because we do not expect that we actually can shoot this box and kill those guys. Would be something fairly new. But we're giving it a try. Because we can see their flashlight, but that doesn't mean anything.
Takeoff complete.
Yeah. We don't think that we will finish this mission completely. Because there is no target. No, the turret on the top. But since they are friendly, not sure if they do that intentionally, making sure there are some contract that doesn't work in order to make sure
Gear raised.
that you do not rev up too much. So we will do this one, but before we do that, we will go back to Tresla and unload the boxes, and we probably will take the 2 STU box with us. Not sure. We expect not to survive, to be honest. Yeah. Left area, that makes sense. Yeah, and up until then, more from the verse radio.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a whole black screen. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. Oh shit. Sorry. Paintbrush. White. Okay, is this? Can you see this?
Yeah.
Can you see this?
Barely, yes.
Barely. Okay, can you see this?
No.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. That's.
Am I blind?
Sure.
Is my eyesight okay? Am I good, doctor?
No, I just want to know what frame I'm drawing in, so I don't draw off the frame, and then you're like, well, I can't see what you're doing. Okay, so it's really simple. We are fighting with balls in space because we're fighting in 6 degrees of freedom.
Spaceballs, would you say?
We have been in Spaceballs this whole time. This whole time, Keaton. So, unlike other games, these balls in space can go in any direction at any time. Okay? Now, some ships have directions that are much stronger, right? So they can go in that direction much better than other directions. But essentially, I can move in any direction at any time, and that is what my ball does. Okay? Now, because we don't have hit scan weapons, every ball has what's known as an effective range. Because geometrically, if we look at this ball here, let's just change the color here. Move that here. So this ball here has an effective range of, let's say, this. Okay? And this ball here has an effective range of this. And that effective range is directly in correspondence with the velocity of the projectile that they are shooting. Okay? I want to be very clear with that. The range of a ship is not dictated on the distance at which the projectile exists, but based off the velocity that the projectile covers in a space of time. So what happens is, if you're in ship number 1 here, and this big red ball is moving, is moving in this direction. Here, paintbrush. This big red ball is moving over this way. Okay, so in 2 seconds, right, he's moved from here to here. Okay, that lead pip is going to track him through that, and it's going to assume that in the next 2 seconds, he's going to be here. So the lag pip will say, you are here, and you're going to be here, which gives us an angle of this. Okay? That angle is what your computer gives to you on your lag or lead pip targeting system. Are you following me here, or have I lost you?
Yeah, I just feel like I'm back in geometry class, though.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm going to try and make it fun for you, right? Now, if I shoot at him outside of this effective range zone, then by the time the projectile gets to here, I might have chosen to change my angle to say, you know what, I want to go over this way, actually. And now the predicted impact point goes over here. And so that shot will fly right past. So I have to have a velocity that's equal to the distance of the change. To put it in layman's terms, if he's going to move on me and move from left to right or up, down, or wherever he goes, okay? And the thing is, with space, you can always move based off of your target. So if there's 2 balls in space, and I know that there's a guy behind me, if there's a guy here and a guy here, then it's not like it's an airplane where I can only go, God's sake. It's not like it's an airplane where I can go, I have to choose. I can either go this way, or this way. Do you see those 3 routes?
Yeah.
Okay. But in space, if I know he's behind me, I can always choose the direction that's going to create the largest angle immediately, because I can just strafe up in this case. Which then, it always comes down to the effective range. Because if I'm moving up, down, right, left, wherever I go, it's always in relation to the person I'm moving against. Because in space, I can move in any direction at any time. Okay? This fundamental geometric issue is the problem to so many issues with the flight model. Because what happens is your big, gargantuous, multi-crew behemoth is the size of a frickin' football field. It's this frickin' big, okay? And you have little fighters that are this big, okay, shooting at big ships like that. And that big ass ship, in 2 seconds, you know where it's going to be? It's going to be about 10 meters in this direction. So it's going to be about here. So the
It's
lead
not
pip
moving
is
very
gonna
far,
be-
yeah.
So I don't even have to, so the pip would have gone from here to here, which is still physically inside the three-dimensional body of the ship because it's just so friggin' big. That's why having a physically large ship in space is a big problem, because the bigger you are, the easier you are to hit and the farther away I can hit you. Okay? To use an extreme example, if I'm in space, is it easier to hit a satellite at 100,000 meters or the moon?
The moon, preferably, probably, yeah. I would think.
Because the moon is what?
Big.
Bigger, right? Big thing, easy to hit. You know, they say can't hit the broadside of a barn. And that's a geometric issue because what they've done is they've let art-driven design basically run the show, and they haven't identified this issue. And they say, oh, Master Mode's Maelstrom will fix this. Okay, well, that doesn't, because that just means that the ship that engages the bigger one, it just means that I have to shoot at it longer to get through the armor. That's all it means.
Right. And there are, I think, a couple different complications there, armor being one of them, but also the idea that components are where we should be aiming more in the future than ships themselves, right? If this is a large piece of ship, if there are small pinpoints on that ship that you're actually supposed to be hitting in terms of weak spots or components, that's still giving you something to aim at that's more, specific, asking for more precision than just the entire broadside of a destroyer.
Sure. But it's still, I can still pick you off. I even have precision mode now, which automatically gimbals my guns. Because it's not about the target acquisition, it's about the velocity of the projectile.
I understand that, but this is a problem you said has been in the game since the beginning.
The very beginning, because we're making ships in space. And Chris wants to make his dogfighter game, and they don't mesh together. You got to lean into one.
But they've never even gotten close to introducing armor to the game or components to the game or precision mode, as you say. They're adding more of these things. They're Halo 2ing it, right? They're adding more things to complex.
But it doesn't solve the problem, because it just means I have to engage you for slightly, put it to you this way. So let's say armor gets in the game. By the way, it's already in the game, just an FYI, right? Because if I shoot a Hornet, I do 40% less damage with ballistics because it's a modifier. So Maelstrom...
Maelstrom is where it really gets real.
Right, but even if Maelstrom is in the game, okay, what is that going to do to combat? Is it going to make it so that light ships don't have enough penetration power to get through the armor? Is that correct?
Assumedly.
Okay, so what size gun would have enough? That's the thing, is you're not solving the problem. You're just pushing it to a different state, right? Now, you could take an Ares Inferno with a size 7 anti-capital ship gun and do the exact same thing I'm showing you right here. Stay at long range, do a bit of movement, shoot, saturate until eventually the guy dies. I can do that right now all day. So unless you're going to make size 7 anti-capital ship guns not effective on Maelstrom, you're not solving the geometric issue.
But I mean, that's what makes the Inferno special, no?
Okay, so then what happens when a fighter just does the same thing to that Inferno that you just did to that other big ship? What you've created is you've created the same geometric problem shifted to a different state.
But the Inferno is as small as the fighter.
The fighter is significantly small, the Inferno, which means the Inferno will always be...
I mean, the difference between the fighter and the Inferno and the big ship is nowhere near the difference between the fighter and the Inferno, right?
I'd say the Arrow, let's say, for example, is about a third the size of an Inferno. Would you agree?
You can't ask me that. I have no... have no idea what the size of those ships
Because it's
are.
pretty close. It's pretty close.
Sure,
Someone can.
here.
I'm sure someone will check my math. Well, like, dang, it's at 2.76% or something like that, right?
You got to get your
But-
volume right, man.
Right? It's probably around the same ratio as an inferno to a constellation, and I can outrange a Connie all day. So yeah, you have more extreme examples in terms of size differentials. Like an inferno to a hammerhead is the same compared to an Archimedes and a Corsair. That's the same ratio,
Okay.
right? So it's the exact same range control problem, just between two different vessels, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'm hearing you there. But that's like getting into the details of balance again. How do
Yeah,
you
but
solve the overall
that's a
problem?
fundamental game design geometrical problem, because what's happening is the ship that's smaller, that's out of range, will never get hit by the ship that it can hit. So what you've created is you've created an environment where, and they say, oh, light fighter meta. Well, because the smaller you are, the more effective you become. So theoretically, the best fighters in the game are Archimedes. They're tiny. If you have lots of them, it just becomes a question of how many of these do I have to bring to the table to just win every battle all the time.
What if
Now, you
those
could say-
ships do no damage against your Polaris?
Right. So then what you do is you find the ship that can do the damage. That's the smallest version of that. So for example, let's say size 4 guns, which are on a lot of multi-crew ships, probably going to be quite effective at taking out armor. So the Talon has 2 size 4 guns.
But then what
The
if
Hornet
the
has
Polaris-
size 4 guns.
Polaris launches 2 arrows out of its hangar?
Okay, but you're not solving the problem, because that if those arrows die, then that Polaris is certainly going, like it's certain death. If there
Well,
are
you better
2 or
get some
3
better
Hornets,
arrow pilots then.
okay, but then what we've created is a game that only depends on fighters, and that is exactly what I'm arguing against, and what people, ironically enough, think that I'm fighting for. And I'm actually fighting for them, which is so ironic to me, because people are like, you just want the fighters to be the best in the game, and I'm like, you don't realize I'm fighting for you, because they already are the best in the game mechanically and like on every measurable metric. Your multi-crew ship is nothing but food for fighters.
Okay, so in your opinion, the problem is that multi-crew ships don't have enough jerk, essentially. They can't accelerate and throw off pips fast enough?
Maybe I'll rephrase it this way, because no. So jerk is the relation to how fast the ship responds in terms of, let's say you're driving a big truck. Actually, you know what? Better, you're driving a Warthog. What's more snappy, a Warthog or what's that little Covenant weird looking bug?
The Ghost.
Speeder. The Ghost. What's more responsive?
The Ghost.
The Ghost. Okay, so the Ghost has a lower jerk profile than the Warthog. The Warthog's a little weightier. You can't really like switch around with it. You kind of just have to flow into your movements. The Ghost, you can kind of be a little quick and move around, right? So a light fighter would have low jerk, and a bigger vessel would have high jerk, because there's more physical weight to this. Now, jerk has nothing to do with the problem geometrically. That's a tuning issue that adds personality and skill set to a ship that allows the player to get the most out of it. Okay? But if you don't fix the geometrical problem, which is completely and entirely based on the physical size of the ship and the velocity of the projectiles is which it's firing. If you don't solve that issue, then we're not going to get anywhere.
So could they just solve the guns instead of the flight model?
The guns have a big issue with this, yeah. But guns are part of the flight model experience. So think of it this way. What affects one affects the other. Okay? So if we had Star Trek phasers on our multi-crew ships, fighters would become obsolete within 5 minutes. In fact, we had this with tachyon guns. Remember tachyon guns when we
the
first...
Banu.
Right. So the entire method of how fighters evade fire is completely dependent on deflection in terms of how much can I move from one point to the next and then change that angle before the bullet that's getting fired at me can get to my location. And there's 2 ways to solve this. 1, you get way faster projectiles. Or 2, you get saturation where the bullets just spread so much, and if you go up, right, left, or down, it doesn't matter because you shot so many bullets in that space that something's going to hit you. Okay, and then it becomes a question of time to kill and size of gun and blah blah blah, right? The problem is Master Modes has decided to go the route of high velocity projectiles for fighters and no change in geometrical velocities for larger vessels.
What if weapon range was also something that they were tweaking?
So if I was them, I would make all small fighters that with a size 1 power plant, and you see what you do is you tie the weapons to the power plants more than the actual weapons themselves. Because what happens is the weapons themselves become the meta, and the ship you're flying is just a platform to get those weapons that are meta to the target. That's all it is. Right? So what happens is whatever platform is the best for getting those weapons to the target is the meta platform. And what I'm saying is you should tie it to the ship hard points, to the ship power plants. And to be honest, I think there's a lot more fighters out there that should have integrated weapon systems that are physically part of the fuselage instead of these stick-on, stick-off gun systems. I mean,
want to customize my ship, man.
Well, I mean, you don't put big, goofy guns on the bottom of a fighter plane. Like, it's just, it adds air resistance. It's terrible for the flight profile. It doesn't make any sense. You would never design a fighter with these guns just hanging off the side. Like, you would have those guns internally mounted inside the system. You could still have customizations, but you just wouldn't have them hanging off the outside. I mean, even the X-Wing has integrated weapon systems on the wingtips. Like, it's not like they bolted them on. Like, they're part of the fuselage.
You say even the X-Wing like it's not one of the best spaceships ever made?
It is. I mean, it's really fun. And it also makes a hell of a lot more sense for a pilot because you actually have some visibility to see stuff. But
I think... Okay. This might be a hot take. It doesn't seem like Master... And you've said this several times, I think, throughout the podcast at this point. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Master Modes is not the problem. Correct. It is the balance and the aspects of the game that interact with Master Modes. Master Modes is really just the switching of two different modes, right? This is the navigation versus SCM mode. It's the combination of slower flight speeds. Is it? What else? Yeah. I mean, besides the disabling of shields and that kind of stuff. Besides those two,
it changes the thruster model, and it changes the speed ceilings, and it changes the modes in which you switch between them. That's a huge change, and it changes the gunnery system. Like,
but essentially,
almost everything.
It introduces two different modes.
It does introduce those two things, but there's a lot more going on than just like there's a fundamental shift in how the system functions compared to the old one.
Right, but it's not like it is making it so that suddenly thrust works differently, right? You still...
Oh, it does. Much different.
How so?
Because what you're doing is you're hitting a lot of speed ceilings, and you're not able to trichord like you used to, so you don't have additive movement.
The old tricording, oh my god.
That's it. It's a hot topic because it fixes a lot of problems, and it also introduces other problems. And I'm honestly not for or against tricording because there are benefits and takeaways from the system. If you were going to design a system for an Xbox controller, tricording would be more difficult than what we have now, to put it bluntly.
I like to kind of play with an Xbox controller.
Look, I got them just like the rest of them. I get it,
Don't hate, all right? People,
I'm not hating on them.
No, not you. I know people typing it out.
Casual consoles.
No, man. Controllers are nice. They're comfy. And I don't think they should be able to replace every control in a game, but I think they have their place. But do you think... Okay, I'm gonna switch pace here a little bit. Do you feel like Squadron 42, which clearly a lot of the stuff that they are doing right now has been aimed at, and Star Citizen, which I think we should all agree is probably 3 to 4 years out at least from reaching its sort of like finalized systems. It's a lot of years, all right? We'll put it that way. Do you think they need to have the same system? Do you think that they can release Master Modes as it is on Squadron 42 and then continue to iterate on Star Citizen, possibly raise the speeds, possibly change some parts of the balance? Because like there's entirely different forms of gameplay that's going on in Star Citizen compared to Squadron. You know, the ship sizes, even as you're saying, are entirely different for us. We're not flying a Connie when we're running in Squad. That would be very funny, launching a Connie for miniatures. But like, we're actually playing a different kind of game, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think at this point, but here's the problem that they have to make sure they understand is whatever system you create for Squadron 42 has to have some fundamental basis in the system that you get for Star Citizen.
Sure.
It has to be similar enough that you're basically going from training wheels to a bike. You know, like you're going from Squadron 42, which is this kind of on-rails cinematic experience, which we're all excited for. I get it. But it's just a single-player campaign, right? So you have to have a flight model that's easy enough for you to pick up with a controller, eat a bag of weed, be able to play the experience, have some fun. You know, you're not trying to
eat a bag of weed.
Some gummies, I don't know, whatever floats your boat. But it's just... that's the casual, that's the max casual, max enjoyment, just having a good time. And I'm all for that. I mean, that sells copies of games. That's really fun for people. You come home from a long day work. Like, I just got back from a 24-hour shift. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I just want to chill out. You know, to grab my Xbox controller, just kind of zone out, fly around, be like, haha, you vandal scum, and just have some fun. I'm all for that. But that experience works for the experience of a single player game, because if you bring that system into multiplayer, like what they've done with master modes, is it totally falls apart. It just breaks apart, because multiplayer is going to be at a level of competition and effectiveness, I guess you could say, that will completely derail whatever single player system you have. And the people that are really good at the system in master modes, if Squadron 42 doesn't fix these fundamental issues, like I'm going to walk through the experience solo in some ship that's probably never meant to pass the game, because I can just exploit the range control issue and the geometric problem. And so, you know, mark my words, man, it's a big issue with the design, and we have to solve it, because if we don't solve it, no amount of armor, maelstrom, single player, multiplayer, it doesn't matter. You know, that's like creating a fighting game where you can't block, or creating an FPS game where like it's just like it's a fundamental part. You just have to have it. Like, it's just...
No, I understand. And at the end of the day, I think what I realized after this talk is that we need to encourage CIG to work within master modes to fix the problems that are there. I think, and you might disagree with this, scrapping a flight model that they've spent years working on, yes, would be embarrassing, and it would be a bad story for the game, but it would ultimately be worse for us, because then they would go and they'd spend a bunch of time on something else. And I feel like working within what they have introduced to fix it and make it better, especially after whatever it is that they've done with 4.0, and maybe we'll get... I'm hoping that after... I don't think we would see it before 4.0 comes out, but at some point an ISC or even a Star Citizen Live that talks about the changes they put into that. Hopefully once that does hit, there is a lot more openness and freedom to talk about major changes to the system. Because as of right now, from what I understand, the engineering changes that have come in and that they've been working on, and the jump point stuff has taken a lot of time from the flight team to really do anything that has to do with master modes. And that has slowed them down and not allowed them to put anything out that we can actually actionably talk about. And like you said, that's what's causing a lot of the stress and annoyance in people, is that nothing has changed since 323, which is almost 5 months ago. Because...
But you know what's changed? I'll tell you what's changed. I started to cut you off on that rant. I love you, buddy. I'm sorry. People have played the experience of master modes for the last couple months, and a lot of people are getting to that point. And that's what's changed, is they've reached that ceiling really quickly. They've reached that glass ceiling. They've played the experience, and they're just like, I don't like, this isn't what I thought it was. And that's what's happening, is Why are thousands and thousands and thousands of people just like flooding Spectrum, read all this stuff, and basically being like, yeah, this wasn't what I thought it was? Because a lot of folks were initially like, oh, A1, you just want a dogfight. And I get that. I totally get it. I mean, I totally understand that point of view. But it's like the whole I told you so thing. It's like, I told you this was going to happen, and it's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So something weird happening on the computer. We do not know what actually happened, but in somewhat the OBS profile got kind of like destroyed. We didn't know, we didn't expect, but we probably just should read the contract properly, because we didn't expect to get stashes in here, to find stashes, but we know there are lots of these kind of guys. You see stashes there.
Wherever they are, I want them found. Over there! Contact! Contact! Enemy spotted!
So the problem would be if they spawn infinite, then we'll have a problem. Because we do not bring that much ammo with us. So we probably focus us on eliminate all. Before we do anything else. Although the contract says destroy. So probably the main challenge here is not even to eliminate everyone, but to find all the boxes, the packages. Okay, so this one could be a normal we could take with us. Come on. 50 bullets. Can we switch? Yeah, no, we cannot switch to single mode. Just the way we press. Before we go a level up, just make sure everything is absolutely cleared, because at the end finding that one last package could be that much a pain. $86 packages of 204. From the logistics perspective, it would be a lot easier to steal these drugs on microtech is easier. What are you doing? Yeah, you would shoot me if you had a gun. And I know you will run and find a gun and start shooting at me. $170. It's interesting that this one has no flag on it. So we just shoot those who have. Five boxes. Haven't seen that. 4 left. So this becomes interesting. Because if that would be the official mission, then we would absolutely come back. And we got beautiful knives. So, okay, here, no. Then the one, the red one, neon. Just put it to the red, as long as it doesn't move. Revenant tree. Start getting it. You see the green? We just need to make sure we got the green arrow down. Question is how. Yeah, this feels more realistic. 7K box package moving in that manner. That suits us. Okay, so we got them all. And here we basically just got everything. Okay, the lumen. Cool. Let's have a check. If we are on the way out here. Ah, nice. Oh, this is nice. Hidden. Very hidden. Okay. This is the only guy we take care of. Just because he has nice armor. Be right back.
I even called it. I said after a couple months, people are going to get sick and tired of this, and they're going to be like, "This isn't holding my interest. This isn't holding my excitement." How do you expect this game to survive 10 years or more if the game is boring after like a couple months of people playing the experience?
The same reason people have trouble with the cargo hauling right now, because there's just not enough in the game for it to be fun.
Yeah, but the question becomes why those changes got made. Like, whose idea was it to make some of those cargo changes? Like, why haven't we? And that's the thing is, like, how many times do you have to, we were talking about this before the podcast started, like, I'm trying to like draw between the lines here. How many times do you have to make mistakes before people go like, "Okay, what's the deal, guys? Can we not, like, we have a frank conversation about design? Because there's no reason after 10 years we have this poor of a state with cargo hauling. Like, it's not rocket science."
I wouldn't say it's poor. I think they've actually finally hit something good.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't feel that way at all.
Well, I mean,
I don't do a lot of cargo hauling.
We will always,
agree.
everybody's going to have different opinions on what works and what doesn't, but I think that they've finally actually hit something that's similar to what they told us they were going to do with cargo hauling. And there are plenty of things to be said about the times that it might take, the money that you might get paid for that kind of stuff, but the actual fundamental idea of cargo being loaded and how it benefits which ship you have, that's hugely important to the game, in my opinion. And there will be people who hate that. But there will be people who hate the flight model also, no matter what.
Yeah, I totally get that. But like, we'll never get a perfect flight model. And like I said, the game is so far off the game that I would design. That's totally fine. If this is the game they're going to make, then I'm going to play it to the absolute limit that I can. But it's like, they make the old flight model, and then I say, okay, this isn't the game I would make, but the one that you have made, these are some really good things that you could do to make it really good. And then they go like, whatever, we're just gonna start again. And then they come out with master modes, and we all play it, and then I go, okay, well, this isn't what I would make, but it doesn't matter because this is what it is, and there's still some fun in there, but this is what I would change. And then they go, we're gonna start again, and it's been like that for 4 different cycles, 4 different people. I've seen each of the devs. I remember when John Pritchett and I used to talk about.
Oh man, I was trying
the original. So here's the thing with John.
JP.
I really genuinely love that man. Like, he is so intelligent. But John Pritchett, as to quote one of my friends, he goes, "John Pritchett's the guy that'll put triangular wheels on a car because it's cool." Like, the guy modeled so many things, like physics-wise with the ships and displacement of weight and all that stuff, and first order motion, second order motion, like so many cool things that it was just too well simulated that it was taking up too much space, basically.
I think yeah.
But I mean, I've been through all those different iterations, right? And yeah, I think just community-wise, we're getting to that point where people are kind of like, I think we feel like those companies were probably when Chris was saying like, "Oh, we're building freelancer or whatever," and they're like, "Hey, it's been like 3-4 years. Like, do you have a game or not?" And he's like, "Oh, we got to work on some stuff." And they're like, "Look, we don't have any more funding. Like, you got to put it out." Like, dude, it's kind of, I feel like the community is kind of getting to that point where we're like, okay, it's been 10 years. Can we at least see some progress? And that's the thing, is like, we want progress. We want the experience to be better than what we had in the previous flight model. And it's just simply not.
One of my favorite things about this year and this time is that server meshing and Squadron 42 are both coming to fruition. Whether we like it or not, whether they're ready or not, this is the proving ground kind of time. And yes, 2024, things have been a little bit slower, but I do think like we are in that zone where these things do have to be finalized. And we are at a spot where in like I kind of got at, master modes won't be replaced. It needs to be changed, maybe. It needs to be updated. But I don't think they're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's fine, but we're going to start over. I think they're going to take this feedback. I think that's a big part of what 4.0 might bring and what after 4.0 might allow for in terms of talking about this stuff and having an open dialogue. But I think it's just a matter of letting them get that update out first and seeing what direction they're going to go in with this, because there's no doubt they haven't heard the feedback on master modes at this point. And I'm not talking about the feedback like, oh, give us a new flight model, you guys ruined it, kill this one, it's done. I'm talking about the feedback like the well thought out posts on Spectrum that are saying, hey, we understand you slowed down the velocities, but there could still be some more excitement here. Like that stuff I think helps them.
Yeah, I genuinely agree with you. And like I said before, I also agree with them giving them time. And I feel like people have kind of, I fear that people are taking this point where it's like, A1, like you haven't given them enough time to make the changes. And that's never what I've been arguing, especially in that last video. It was nothing to do with that. It was all to do with the fact that I'm okay with them taking their time as long as they understand what's wrong with master modes and that it needs to improve. But to claim the things they claimed is really what got under my skin. That's what really pissed me off. And it really did piss me off because I felt like I was being spoken at by a company that was just trying to pull a fast one on me. And I was just like, like, can we just be honest with what's going on? And what scares me sometimes too is if they really believe that the things that they're claiming in those statements, like, oh, fights are closer and this, that, and that worries me, because if they believe that, they're believing something that's just simply false. And the problems that we experience, I guess you could say, on the experienced dogfighter side, become everybody else's problem when the game starts to go more public. Because once people learn how to do things, and that's how, if you want to win, you just do these things, it becomes more and more and more and more and more of a thing.
Yeah, I don't want
because
that.
nobody, do you want to just undock and go somewhere and just get murdered right away? No, it's just, but it'll become public knowledge. Like all metas have a lifespan where nobody knows about it, and then the first initial people do it, and then they have some massive success, and then people go like, wait, those guys are winning, and then they start to do it, and then those people start to do it, and then the meta kind of shifts and advances, and then the more people get involved with that thing, the more it starts to change, and the meta evolves. So what happens is you don't chase the meta. What you do is you design the space in which the meta can flourish. And you have the upper limits and the under limits in terms of how that shape of the meta fits into the game. And it's just, it's something that they're going to have to learn the hard way, because what's going to happen is if they don't fundamentally address these things, which they haven't in any flight model, and it's not like they don't have the information to do it, they got to get those ratios correct. And if I was them, I would drop weapon ranges to 1,000 meters for size 1 power plant ships. I would drop velocities to 1,400 and nothing faster for all fighters. I would slightly bump the velocities for all multi-crew ships by 400. So if you have a Panther that's 1,400 on a Gladius, then it goes 1,800 on a Constellation. I would remove all the auto-aim BS stuff, the fixed assist, all that silliness. And I would really get the gunnery system in a place that makes sense. And then I would do a complete redo of the missile system. If we did those few things, man, the flight model would feel better as well. And people wouldn't...
I think it's just weird. Again,
people wouldn't be
OBS,
as upset
the
as they are
window
now. But
just pop out.
We'll see if
it is what it is.
if they can work with some of that stuff to make it better.
Yeah.
You said during the last time we got into this, it was a podcast. We actually had Yogi from CIG on the show. It's like episode 146. You guys should check it out if you want more discussion on this. You said at that time that you felt like master modes was good and fundamentally made sense,
this is new.
but it needed some tuning for skill expression. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, that hasn't changed. I mean, if you're gonna stay with the master mode system, there's definitely some issues that need to get addressed, and they haven't made any meaningful tuning changes because they've made like, oh, they're going to increase the damage of the light strikes by 10%. And I'm not talking about making small changes like that because it's largely meaningless. I'm talking about fundamental reevaluations in terms of how the flight is tuned in general. So for example, if you increased SCM speeds to 500 and then had afterburner always 100 above whatever the top SCM speed was. So a Gladius should be hitting 550 SCM, and then it should be hitting 650 in afterburner, but only in the forward direction, forward and lateral directions, so that if you actually get a position on an enemy ship, you can hold that position. Because what happens is, unless the person is flying away from you, as soon as they turn their nose towards you, you can't actually get up underneath them, because you actually end up trying to get underneath them, and if they're quote-unquote back strafing, then you can't force a position geometrically. So the way we get around that problem is we have infinite space, which we're not going to do, or we have a bubble in terms of the zone that allows you to maintain a position based on the nose position, and that represents what you would experience in infinite space. But you want to get off the speed wall as much as possible. You want as much combat to happen off the speed wall as you can. And the how we get there is, we have ships that accelerate at a reasonable rate. So right now you go from 0 to your top speed in like 3 seconds. That's insanely, and I'm talking top like afterburner, So that time it takes to go from 0 to 500 meters per second on some ships and 600 on like the Buccaneer is way too fast. Like you have games like, and I used X-Wing Alliance as an example, where you can go from 0 to the top speed of the X-Wing, which was like 120 in 7 seconds. and then there's a reason why that game feels so much more like so much faster and so much more intense, is because of those. It's the ratio of acceleration, not just, and it's all together. Like if you have really high velocity projectiles, movement means much less. If you have really low projectile velocities, movement means everything. And it's a big equation basically. But, we have to start experimenting. There's no reason to me why Arena Commander doesn't have 2 or 3 modes that have fundamental, completely different archetypes in terms of balanced choices. And there's 3 that people choose from, and they play all 3 and go like, you know what? This one's the best. Like, I don't see why we shouldn't have that.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. I think, and I hope, again, that once they can get more time on this stuff, I keep saying that, but I realize that even after 4.0 comes out, they've got control surfaces that they've got to think about, and there's just like, the flight team has a lot on their plate. So I do hope that they can put some proper testing into this and do something like that, where they can give us full-on archetypal differences in the way forward they want to move with master mode, so we could do more deep testing like that. That's why Arena Commander's here.
I mean, I'm down for it.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you so much for this talk. And
You said you're going to be hard on me. You weren't even hard on me.
It's whatever. It's a sliding scale. I appreciate you coming in and talking about this, and offering some insight into this, and maybe some into your own feelings on this. I most heavily appreciate getting to the point that master modes isn't necessarily the problem, because I really feel like that has become kind of just a tagline complaint for people, as opposed to digging to what's actually annoying them about flight. I hope that the conversation surrounding the flight model expands. I really do. I hope that it can turn away from, whatever CIG wanted to call their flight model, to what actually the problems are, because that it makes it more easy to discuss, I think, when you can get into the details. Either way, appreciate you presenting this and just having a chat. Can you let the folks know before we sign off where they can find your own content?
Yep. It's Avenger1 on YouTube, and it's Avenger__1 on Twitch.
Crap. I missed an underscore there. Our
Discord is always open for anybody who wants to learn how to play. And I do have it's called the Star Citizen Fighter Combat Fundamentals course on my YouTube channel. You can see they're like little blue blueprints. And it'll take you from not having any experience in the game whatsoever to having at least enough experience and knowledge to be able to genuinely dogfight and have some success with it. But always, Keenan, I really appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. And you know, it's important we have these discussions. I just want to say, for the record, folks, my opinions on master modes is just to be very clear, master modes is very salvageable, very savable. It's just we have to start getting to work on it instead of we're not going to get our old model back. It's gone. It's dead. Let it die. There were some fundamental issues with that old system that we need to get solved anyway, so it's good that we have a new system regardless. But we need to be getting some good feedback from CIG, and I'd like to see more focus on master modes in general. I think a lot of us would. I think a lot of the community and a lot of people in Star Citizen want to see a little more emphasis brought to the core fundamental pillar, which all game loops revolve around in some way, which is the flight of ships and how they interact with each other. So anyway, but yeah, I'm not advocating for the loss of master modes. I'm advocating for the evolution of master modes radically, hopefully very soon. That's all.
What you said there about it's gone, it's done. I think a lot of people need to realize that 3.0, the 3.x branch of features are going away. We've seen it with the star map, we've seen it with the Moby Glass, we're seeing it with interaction system. Even in the ISC yesterday, somebody quoted one of the devs saying something along the lines of, what we had as for MFDs before was placeholder. It just worked. It made it happen. It's the same with the flight model. Everything they did in the 3.x round of stuff was just so that we could play the game, so they had a playable version for us. Even the underground facilities, all of it is being replaced as we move forward into 4.0 and beyond. Flight model is the same way. So I think we shouldn't be tied to the things that happened in the 3.x branch of updates. But, you know,
we should be taking the lessons learned from them, and that's the things.
There's plenty to be learned there. Like those stupid turrets around the bunkers. Oh my god, we don't use them for anything.
Grimhex still shoots criminals. I'm just saying, it's really annoying.
Shame on you, Grimhex. All right, man. Thank you again for joining me for this one. Thank you everybody who watched or listened. For anybody who was listening, I hope you got a lot out of those drawing segments, which I'm sure were not confusing at all. But if you enjoy this podcast and you don't like the YouTube ads, you can always hop over to our audio platform, which may actually start doing some stuff late soon. But thank you again for joining me. Hope you learned something in this. Have a great time in the comments section. I'll catch you next week.
Yeah, great talk.
Take off complete.
So, but we continue here. And in this mission, it is actually like this. There are boxes not listed within the contract. That means some boxes will remain. And that actually calls us for taking it with us. So that's what we try. So once more we got the same issue like the last time. The problem is the water. We are on 20%. The closest place to go would be New Babbage or Tresla. And we know if we would go to Tresla, we would have problems with the scanners. Yeah. So we need to keep that in mind. And we're not sure if the F key is done after 2 months of playing Star Citizen, because weird stuff happening. Just not, yeah, just weird. So next time we probably will do that kind of mission on Microtech. And the reason why is actually pretty easy, right? First of all, they pay much more money than the Hurstons. And you are free to take some boxes with you. And it might be that the yellow arrow at the end just popped up because they were hidden behind that plate. And so it would be fair, and it is fair, that they do a marker so that we can find them. Because we never would have looked behind that one. It would be accidentally if we would have find them. But with the yellow marker, that is helpful. So, and it wasn't even, let's say, that intense during the shootout. It was just like, let's say, average. And we do not complain about that. So what we haven't found here is maize. That would be great. Weevil eggs probably were there. We destroyed the maize probably as well. Kind of makes sense, right? But yeah, we can waste time on that. 17%. And the other thing is, we checked that out. If we put these boxes at the very end of our ship, the scanners will not find it. Not sure if that is intended, but we verified. If we put these drugs in the very end back of the ship, we will have no issues with any scanners. But the main issue here is not the scanners itself, it is just the tractor beaming stuff. Even if we would have been 2 people, it would just take lots of time, And we also get new issues here that we cannot raise. The cargo bay. Which is just annoyingly unnecessary. And the cargo box we filled with some armor, more than expected, but it's probably 50% loaded. So no, another try, close. Yeah. So this would be probably the bonus that was within the contract. Not sure. We would expect that from the Hurstons, that they would offer some sort of like this, because they are criminals. So that would make sense if they would offer, but probably because they are criminals, they do not want to get you a cut out of it. That would be another argument why not the Hurston will give you the opportunity to get bonuses like this. So, since we managed to get all these packages in the back of the ship, we will fly Damn it! We will fly to Tresla. Repair ourselves. We do not need to repair. Filling up. And unload these packages. And then having a check at the admin if we can sell some of these.
Takeoff complete. Landing gear raised.
Yeah, question would be what the consequences are of having drugs on board. One thing that we can imagine would be getting a fine and they will steal it from you. This is what happened to was it what? With RMC cargo. If we work together and the one who transports the cargo, yeah, 52,000 plus since we started. The one who delivers the cargo in the cargo ship, but the cargo ship is not his one, so that can become a problem, especially if the owner of the cargo ship leaves the game, because that means party is disbanded and therefore he transports stuff in a ship that is not his. Yeah. Okay, water level 12%. That was interesting. That was almost an attack. Not sure if there were some sort of nine-tail stuff. %. So the thing is with the drugs, we cannot wait for too long because it's a part of contract. That means that next patch, whenever that is, we will lose this stuff.
Landing gear deployed.
Are we on this side? Yeah, those are open. All good, all good.
Landing complete.
The goose is down. What is that kind of weapon? The Lumi. %, water. What we will do is put in the box to the entrance to bring the material into inventory. So in this mission we don't have any official armor. Everything what's inside is for sale. Okay. Box is empty. We can go to the hospital and refill the body. And yeah, like we said, for now, from the time we started, that was 7:30. 2 hours later, we got 52,000 plus. But we have to admit that we bought a box. That was the reduction of our money, but this is really a well-paid contract. So whenever you want to do this kind of stash, destroy narcotics, destroy dash, contrabands. Whenever you read contraband, it is drugs involved. Yeah, do it here on Microtech. It's just much more money. And the mission itself is basically just an average bunker mission. Plus destroying stash. So if you get rid of all the enemies, you can basically just take your time and destroy the stashes. Yeah, that's for now. Thanks for watching.